talk. We wanna welcome you to SAZETU. The show's alive because of SAZETU.
SAZETU is brought to you by Maine Spirits. Learn more about the delicious spirits they import into the great state of Maine and the cocktails you can make with them at mainspirits.com or by downloading their app for your smartphone or visiting them on Instagram at Maine_spirits. Promotional consideration by State Theatre Portland. Visit statetheatreportland.com for an up-to-date schedule of virtual events and upcoming announcements as we get closer to normalcy. And Sun Tiki Studios, a top-notch rehearsal and performance facility located on Forest Avenue in Portland, Maine. Learn more at suntikistudios.com.
Hello. It's Happy Hour brought to you by Maine Spirits. We are getting into the nice, warm months. And my friend Elizabeth asked me a question about cherry hearing, which she normally uses to make a cherry soda, which sounds awesome. Just some cherry hearing, which is a delicious cherry-flavored liqueur, as you can imagine. But she wants to know another drink that she can make with it. Can I help, she asked. The answer is quite simply yes. Yes, I can help you, Elizabeth, and I'm happy to do so. Cherry hearing is a Danish liqueur made from crushed Stevens cherries, spices, and a neutral grain alcohol. It's made with real fruit, people, and we are going to put it in a drink called Remember the Maine. So let's get this cocktail together. In a shakerful of ice, please add the following: 2 ounces of rye whiskey, 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth, 2 teaspoons of cherry hearing, and a half a teaspoon of absinthe. Stir until cold and strain into a martini glass and garnish it with a brandied cherry. Take a sip. It is yet another refreshing whiskey cocktail. How do we do it, you might be asking? Well, I'll tell you, I look shit up on the internet. Or I ask friends who are smarter than me, which is most of my friends. So thank you, Elizabeth, for asking. If anyone wants to ask me, you can DM me on the socials at Spencer Albee, and I'll see if I can help you out with the bottle of liqueur that you have. Happy Hour has been brought to you by Maine Spirits. You can find out more about this cocktail and many other cocktails at mainspirits.com. You can watch videos based upon these very segments. You can follow them on Instagram at Maine_spirits, or you can download their app for your smartphone, which is a smart move because it's a wealth of information. And as always, we implore you to drink not only deliciously, but responsibly. Sippy, sippy, bev, bev. Sippy, 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 bev, 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 sip.
Wait, how do you know I'm sipping my beverage right now?
Because we're in the same room for the first time doing this show.
Here we are, actually doing it. Actually in the same room.
Yep. I wonder if we're going to have like any chemistry like this.
I doubt it. I don't know where to look. Like, do I look at the microphone? Do I look at the wall? Do I just stare directly into your eyes?
It's intoxicating.
It is.
It's very distracting.
I'm not going to be able to focus on this podcast.
We're having tea and water in person. Aren't we responsible?
Yes, we are.
We just had a light lunch.
We're drinking out of our Star Trek mugs.
Yep, I've got odd numbers. Zach is motion picturing it, and I've got number 3, The Search for Spock.
Yeah. Which, according to a lot of people, the odd-numbered Star Treks are bad, but I think they're wrong because I like all of the Star Treks.
I'll give them 5 as a sacrificial lamb, though there are parts that are great, as we've discussed repeatedly on this show.
And we'll continue to for the rest of time.
Probably. All right. Let's get down to brass tacks here. We're looking at some albums from 1971. Well, why? Let's get into why we're doing this first.
Well, it turns out 1971 was 50 years ago, and 50th anniversaries are worth celebrating.
That's right.
And turns out there's a lot of great records that came out in 1971.
I wouldn't know anything about celebrating a 50th anniversary, although as you're listening to this, if you're listening on Monday, I will be celebrating a 45th anniversary of being around, which is fucking horrifying.
That's kind of scary.
It's horrifying being that old. It's like, how do you even do this? Like, is it like, what do you do? Like, am I in charge now? Like,
Yes, you are.
shit.
Well, I hate to be the one to break this to you, but you actually get older from there.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So you had noticed that Apple TV had put out what appears to be the first in a series, and it was 1971.
That's right.
And so we both watched it last night.
They're giving away the first episode for free, and after that, you got to subscribe. So I'm weighing whether or not I want to subscribe.
Classic drug dealer
That's
move
right.
right there. Well, yeah, I will say that it felt very much like it was produced by Yoko Ono, because it's like John Lennon all day.
Yep.
Marvin gets like a blip mention.
I mean, I'm curious if each episode is going to focus on a different person. Like the trailer for the second one looked like it was leading on Sly Stone a lot. I mean, I don't know who produced it or made it or why they chose to, how they chose their focus for each episode. But that first one was definitely very heavily John Lennon.
Yeah, it was a little, I mean, this is coming from our show. It was a little much, because I'm very certain that there was more going on in the world than John Lennon doing a bunch of blow with Phil Spector and just saying what people should do.
I think also, obviously, there's no new John Lennon footage, and we've seen all of the footage that was used in that episode. So
Yeah.
it's not like...
They've even recut that same footage into 2 different movies,
Yeah.
which are the same.
was it Give Me Some Truth and also Imagine classic albums, I think.
I think so, yeah. Something like that. It was like a documentary. I think now it's Give Me Some Truth is like the official rewriting of history.
Yeah, there's also a documentary that came out called Imagine, I think, in the 80s. That
89,
uses
yeah.
a lot of that footage.
That's actually the one that got me hip to Lennon's stuff. Because I bought some stuff, but that really got me into it. It was cool, too, because it was current. It came out at that time. Saw it in the theater. That's a good documentary.
Yeah, it's a good one.
At that point, we had that, and then there was The Complete Beatles,
Yep.
which was narrated by John Hurt, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right. Actually, I found that VHS tape recently at my parents' house,
Nice.
but I've not found a VCR to watch it yet.
Sure. I actually have a DVD copy, if you'd like to borrow it.
Ah, nice.
You'll probably have to find a DVD player.
That's true.
So, yeah. So, one thing that became clear watching that documentary, which, by the way, I'd be like, it's fine. It's fine. It was good. But it could have, I think there was a lot more going on than they covered in the 47 minutes. Not that you're going to be able to like really unpack too much in that short a time frame, but it just seemed like to focus on all 3 Beatles except for Paul. Mm-hmm. And then like there's like a little footnote for like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They didn't really spend that much time on Kent State. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't really spend that much time on Nixon, but they kept like showing this footage of John Lennon, like just off his rocker in the studio with Phil Spector. You know, it was just like, okay.
Seen it. Boring.
Yeah. It should have been called John Lennon and Friends in 1971. And that would have been like more. So I wouldn't say rush to go see it, but we went down the rabbit hole of good albums that have come out in 1971, big ones. Mm-hmm. And we're going to narrow this down to 14.
Or 16? Or 14?
16. Sorry, 16. So I'll just go through and count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is fascinating radio. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So we have to eliminate for 7 of these.
Yeah, there's now documented evidence that you can count to 23 and
There it is.
subscribe. I can't even say it. Mm-hmm. Subtract.
I mean, did you check my math? I don't know that I did it right.
I didn't actually. I just took your word for it. Not a numbers guy.
So we're gonna fire these out, and let's just like go gut. Like it's on, it's off.
Gotcha.
Start with Sticky Fingers.
It's on.
Yeah. Who's next? It's on.
It's on.
It's in the movie. Zep 4.
Yeah.
Blue by Joni Mitchell. It's on.
It's on.
Tapestry. It's on.
Yes.
It's a huge one. T-Rex Electric Warrior.
Yep.
On. Hunky Dory, Bowie.
Yep.
What is going on?
Yes.
What is it that is going on? By Marvin Gaye. On. There's a riot going on. On.
On.
Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. I think it has to be on.
I think it has to.
Even though it's not a huge one for me, I know that if our friend Neil was here and many other people, they'd be like, dude, it has to be on. I mean, we're going to eliminate it in the first round. But it has to go on.
But it has to.
Metal, Pink Floyd. That's a big one for me. You?
It's not a big one for me, but we can leave it on there.
I'll put a little question mark by it. Because we were in total agreement up to that point. Stevie Wonder, Where I'm Coming From.
That is a big one for me, but I don't even know if it's a big one for Stevie Wonder.
No, it's not. It's a big one for me, and I love it. But I would also say that it's the precursor to him. It is the next record wherein he fucked shit up.
Yeah. Yeah. Where I'm coming from is sort of like he opened the door to what many consider the golden era of Stevie Wonder, which is began with Music in My Mind. Followed up that. Yeah.
And that was followed by
Talking Book.
The good one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the Doors' L.A. Woman. Let's get rid of it.
Sure.
We put it on there because we felt like we had to.
Yep.
But I think...
I mean, it is a heavily celebrated album from 1971, but I don't know if the Doors have opened doors for either of us.
No, we've tried too.
Yeah.
See you, the Doors. The Kinks, Muswell Hillbillies. I love the Kinks. I wouldn't necessarily say... Like, if this were Lola versus Power Man, the money go around, it'd be like it's in the movie, but...
Yeah, I mean, I would say that about any Kinks album, that it's one of my favorite Kinks albums, but again, yeah, it's not even...
Until they signed with Arista.
Yeah, it got a little weird later on.
Get a little weird. Got a little not good.
Yeah, I think for Kinks fans, Muswell Hillbillies is probably a can't lose album, but in the general sense of rock and roll.
Well, I'm looking at this list here, and I bet I'm seeing a bunch of shit you're not going to want to kick off. So,
okay,
I'll just put a little question mark next to the Kinks.
Sure.
We'll come back to it and cross it off in a minute. Ram. Paul McCartney and Linda McCartney also.
We already spent a whole episode talking about it, but let's talk about it some more.
Ram is in the movie Imagine by John Lennon.
Yes.
And cocaine.
We watched a 45-minute documentary about it last night.
That's right. So. Maggot Brain, Funkadelic. It's got to be in the movie.
It's got to be in the movie. Yeah.
Madman Across the Water.
Man.
Tiny Dancer.
And Levon. Yeah. Elton was just on a kick at that point, though. Any of the albums from that era, I think could be.
Nilsson Schmilsson.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be.
It's got to be in the movie. Concert for Bangladesh. This is George Harrison. Here's what I'm going to suggest. The concert itself, very culturally significant, being the first of its kind, the star-studded fundraiser for people who are down on their luck. The resulting album maybe isn't as important as what it is celebrating. It's a document of something.
I agree with you. It's also a little bit of a cheat because it's a star-studded event. Yeah.
That's right. It's a greatest hits album featuring Eric Clapton and Bob Dylan. George Harrison. Yeah, but maybe disqualify it. Something's got to go.
Yeah.
Bill Withers, Just As I Am.
Great record.
It's in the movie?
Man, I think it's in the movie.
Okay. We've eliminated one. No, two. We have 5 to go. The Shaft soundtrack.
I mean, it's pretty essential, I think, but it's also mostly instrumental. I don't know if that makes a difference. If it,
no, I mean, it's culturally significant.
That is true.
I mean, I would say, I'm going to go on a limb here, get ready for some hashtagging, but the soundtrack might be even more significant than the film across, like, culturally.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't watch a movie when you're riding in your car.
Yeah.
That's all I mean by that.
I mean, most people have not seen the movie these days, but if you say that cat shaft's a bad mother, They know to say shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love Sam Jackson, so I have seen the original.
The original Shaft from 2007?
Yeah.
Or whatever year it was.
Son of Shaft, Rides Again. Yeah. Badfinger, straight up, love Badfinger. I don't think... It doesn't... Good album.
It's probably my favorite Badfinger record.
But it doesn't... Like, you put that up against Who's Next, and there's just like a pile of dust.
Exactly.
Next to it. No shade to Badfinger. Great band. All right. Well, we crossed off 3. We got 2 more to go, bud.
All right. We have... so what are our question mark ones?
Well, the Shaft soundtrack, we talked a bit about. Metal, we weren't on the same page about. Kinks, Muswell Hillbillies, and... Sorry, I went off mic there. And Stevie, Where I'm Coming From. Just in that it's not... He hadn't quite entered into his... we could have... Mm-hmm. Like, if Where I'm Coming From would be Pablo Honey to Radiohead, or, you know what I'm just saying? You know, Where I'm Coming From is to Music of My Mind as Pablo Honey is to the Bends.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's some good jams on there. I mean, it's just top to bottom awesome.
Well, I would say Muswell Hillbillies can probably go, just because I don't even think there's a hit single on that album. So non-Kinks fans probably won't care about it as much.
Right.
Where I'm Coming From does have at least If You Really Love Me, I think was a hit off
that. Was a big hit.
That's probably...
having you round. Is that off that one?
No, that's Music of My Mind.
There's a song on there that is escaping me, but we'll not waste listeners' time.
I think it is essential Stevie Wonder, but it's not. You're right. It's like it's him opening the door to all of the greatness that will follow.
I think that album is more significant and essential than the Shaft soundtrack, for instance.
All right, fair enough. So should we do away with Shaft then?
I think so, maybe. Because there's a number on here that's just like absolutely cannot go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, I brought up Pink Floyd Metal. I think it's a significant album. It hasn't reached you.
I just haven't explored it thoroughly enough to even have an opinion.
In my opinion, it's one of the 3 essential, totally essential Pink Floyd albums.
Mm-hmm.
Wish You Were Here, Dark Side being the other 2. Throw in Animals, that's very good. I'm Over the Wall.
Mm-hmm.
The earlier shit is... I like songs. I'm a song guy. And they wrote some songs on this one. But it's also weird. It's like that nice balance between being weird and writing some tunes. But I could also... I'm not as influenced by Shaft, for instance.
Yeah.
So maybe on that note, 1, 2...
Oh, we get rid of both of those,
4.
and then we're good.
We get rid of 6, then we need to add 1 back on.
Oh.
But we already went through the list. Tell you what.
Tell me what.
Let's put the Kinks back on. Let's chican Shaft and Metal.
Okay.
Okay, great. Which I know. My Pink Floyd people, I know. Zach doesn't know.
I don't know, but I do know Shaft.
So let's do Ram and Imagine up against each other.
Yep.
Great. And let's do you want to kind of keep like let's do Madman and Schmilson.
Perfect.
You like we're leaving the writing parts in, so you know that this is happening in real time. Bill Withers. I feel like that album has the most to do with Tapestry of the other selections, or Nilsson Schmilson. When I think of Bill Withers, I just think songwriter. Mm-hmm. Like you could take all the schmutz and everything, if it's just Bill and his guitar, it's like he's just telling you a story.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think they're both I've never thought of this before, but Carole King and Bill Withers are similar singers as well. Both very soulful and always a little bit flat.
Yeah. Good idea. So we'll do Bill and Tapestry. Or do you want to put Bill Withers up against Maggot Brain? Okay, we're good there. Good Bill Withers, Just As I Am. What was the hit off Just As I Am?
Well, it opens with Ain't No Sunshine.
Never heard of it.
Oh,
Just kidding.
it's pretty good. You should check it out sometime.
I never really got into it.
Or sorry, that was the hit off it, but it actually opens with is it Saturday Night in Harlem? I think is the first track. I think about it.
Let's do, based upon your quick quip that you made earlier. Marvin Gaye asks, "What's going on?"
What's going on? And Sly answers, "There's a riot going on."
Even though they're kind of similar. They're not really, though. There's a lot more cacophony going on, and there's a riot going on. Let's do Maggot Brain up against Zep 4.
Well, all right.
Great. Maggot Brain.
All right.
We're doing pretty good here. Let's do... Ooh, this is getting fun. Let's do Who's Next versus Sticky Fingers.
Right on.
Cool. This leaves us with let's do Electric Warrior Hunky Dory.
Perfect.
So this leaves us with Black Sabbath and Stevie Wonder. Let's do it. Whatever.
Wow.
Wow. You wouldn't necessarily put them in the same room.
No.
What would a conversation between Stevie Wonder and Ozzy Osbourne be like? Awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? They might be. We never know with like entertainers.
Yes,
Like,
they've probably already met and had that conversation.
Hung
and
out.
It was fine.
Yeah, they went to Cheesecake Factory together last week.
Yeah.
Your friends.
That's the conversation I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy Osbourne reading the Cheesecake Factory menu to Stevie. Here, this looks great, Stevie.
Extra strawberries. All right, let's run this thing down. Do I have the best of the best? Yep, it's right here. Actually, I've upgraded to a quarter.
Perfect. It's more prosperous times.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. People getting back to work. Ram versus Imagine. Paul McCartney and also Linda McCartney. Ram versus John Lennon's Imagine.
Well, I would say Imagine is probably more culturally significant. I mean, they did spend 47 minutes talking about his, political awareness and all that. But, I mean, Ram's a better album.
I'm into it. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
If you'd like to know more about how we feel about Ram, go back a couple episodes and check out our celebrating the 50th anniversary of Paul and McCartney's Ram. But Imagine's a great album.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But it's also got some slow spots on it.
Yeah, and there are also times like, John Lennon was doing the super raw production, and there are times where it's like a little too raw, I would say. Mm-hmm. But still a great record. But he even, I think, does better. Like Mind Games, I think is a better record.
I love Mind Games.
Walls and Bridges is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. So. Mind Games is my favorite one, I think. Elton John, Madman Across the Water versus Harry Nilsson's Nilsson Schmilsson.
If it were not any other, but if it were other Elton John records, it might get a little closer. Like if it was like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Mm-hmm. But because it's Madman Across the Water, which is excellent, I still think Nilsson Schmilsson is of the two the one we're gonna keep.
It's Nilsson's masterwork.
Exactly. Yeah. Nilsson made a lot of great music, and that's probably his best record and best known record as well.
Hard part is that Madman does contain arguably one of Elton's best songs in Tony Danza.
That's right.
So that's tough. But I'd give it to Schmilsson just because I mean, that album, I think you could talk to a lot of songwriters who are interested in the type of songwriting that we're interested in.
Yeah.
And that would be on
Yeah.
probably everyone's list.
I think also around that time, Elton John was doing 2 albums a year. I think also the Friends soundtrack came out in 1971, which is also great. And that whole run of Elton records from the early 70s is it's fantastic. But Nilsson Schmilsson is like a uniquely excellent Harry Nilsson record. And he made a lot of great music too, but made a lot of weird stuff as well.
Sure. Yeah. He was trying it on to see if it fits. Next, we have Bill Withers' Just As I Am versus Carole King's Tapestry. I'll open this conversation by saying, if this were still Bill, kind of like you were saying earlier, this would be like a closer fight. I'm a huge Bill Withers fan, but I don't think that it would be, I can't turn a blind eye to talk about culturally significant. Like, I think Tapestry might have been like, it's one of the top selling albums of that decade. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. Tapestry is kind of untouchable, even by that great Bill Withers record, which has his cover of Let It Be on it, as well as his cover of, what's the other song? He does a Harry Nilsson song on it. Oh, Everybody's Talking, his version of it on there. But also, yeah.
My dog is dreaming.
Okay.
Hey, Pete, you having a dream? What you dreaming about? Food? Pete the dog. He's that age. My dog's, if you're listening, he's 14. So you still get like a little bit of like parental concern when you hear them making strange noises, but he's probably just dreaming. Hold on a second.
Right.
Pete, you good? Pete. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that scary time where it's like sleeping or dead. Oh,
Pete the dog. Come hang out.
Yes,
Hey, Pete.
hello.
Hey, buddy.
Pete the dog. Handsome devil.
Oh, yeah.
Movie.
So anyway, yes, Tapestry.
Tapestry. Next we have Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, and Sly and the Family Stones, There's a Riot Going On.
I mean, that was definitely the period where Sly was losing his mind a little bit. I think, that's like one of those ones where it's just like there's almost just as much tape hiss as there is music on it. A lot of great stuff, but nothing as iconic as What's Going On.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, There's a Riot Going On could have been Sly's best album, which I don't necessarily think it is personally. But it's What's Going On.
Agreed.
It's a huge one.
Yep.
Goes to Marvin.
I also miss, I love the early Sly and the Family Stone stuff when it was actually a band. Just that energy they had and all the different singers and stuff. I feel like it. I like a lot of that weirder stuff that he did later when he was more kind of doing it himself. But it's not What's Going On.
No, it's not. Maggot Brain and Led Zeppelin 4. Maggot Brain. Genre bending. That album's crazy.
It is. Iconic album cover. The album cover looks like the album sounds.
Yes. And the album name sounds like the album cover looks like the album cover sounds. Maggot Brain. Super unpleasant. This is like part of the George Clinton Parliament Funkadelic. He had 2 different groups. Funkadelic, weirdly enough.
It was a more rock and roll
More rock band, yeah. And this is, I mean, really, this should have been Sabbath, maybe.
Yep.
Well, I guess we could actually, Yeah, I don't know. We get the lineups together. But against Led Zeppelin 4, do we give it to... Okay, they both made some really intense original music. One of the groups stole a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then made their own sound from that. But definitely from time to time in the Zeppelin catalog, it's just like they just took.
Yeah. That's true. Maggot Brain is incredibly original, whereas even Stairway to Heaven, they were sued for stealing that from somebody.
That's right.
I can't remember who was it. Love?
Yeah, it was
maybe, or-
Love. It was some other English band.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's pretty much that. Let's give it to Maggot Brain.
All right.
I think that's maybe some of the penance that needs to be paid started here.
Yeah.
Maggot Brain gets it. Great.
My brother Chris got me a Maggot Brain T-shirt for my birthday. So
That's a good one.
I should have worn that today. I've been thinking.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Speaking of who's next? Versus Sticky Fingers. Who's next?
I mean, I love Sticky Fingers, but yeah, who's next is Sticky Fingers has Brown Sugar, Wild Horses, so many excellent, and both Who's Next and this is why we paired these up, because both of them have penis jokes on the cover.
Yes. Except one is a penis joke and the other one is simply a dong. Really big dong right in front of your face.
The original pressings of Sticky Fingers had an actual zipper
That's right.
on the front, and
Which means the backs of the covers in front of the zippers were all ruined.
yeah.
It's like one of the hallmarks of an original copy is the back cover is scratched a little bit.
And of course, Who's Next has them walking away from that obelisk, zipping up their flies after having peed on it.
That's right. Which to me is a very good photo of that band.
Yeah.
I think Who's Next is there's an airplane, you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to edit that out either. Because the windows are open.
Who knows?
Nice out.
Maybe it's sound effects. We put that in.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, we
Oh,
chose-
look, there's an airplane going overboard. Or is it incredible sound design? Who's Next is, I think it's their best record.
Agreed. It's probably not my favorite Who record, but it's also.
What's your favorite Who one?
I think it's Sell Out. It's probably my favorite.
Fine choice.
But
It's-
also Quadrophenia.
Sure.
But
Tommy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Who's Next is probably their best record.
It's like the most cohesive body of work. The writing is like incredible too. And like the stuff they're singing about, like still significant. Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss. You know, it's like won't get fooled again is incredible.
What did George Bush say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again.
The Who gets it.
The Who gets it. Great Stones record, but not Who's Next. And also, it's a similar thing to the Led Zeppelin thing, where the Stones were always drawing from the blues, like, whereas nothing else sounds like Won't Get Fooled Again.
Nope.
You know,
No, they invented that.
yeah.
Yep. Speaking of inventing things, these two young chaps invented a lot. T-Rex and David Bowie.
Bowie, funky music Bowie plays.
Bowie. Yeah, it's kind of cool too because they're both like it's pretty meta references between the two.
Yeah. What's it? Well, all the young dudes that Bowie wrote for a band name is escaping me.
Mott the Hoople.
Mott the Hoople, yes. And he name drops himself and T-Rex.
That's right. That's right.
So, what is it? Who needs something when I've got T-Rex?
Who needs TV when I've got TV? So you also name dropped Tony Visconti
That's right. Oh.
because Tony Visconti was a producer of both Bowie and T-Rex. Visconti did not produce, however, Visconti did not produce Hunky Dory. He did produce Electric Warrior. Electric Warrior is a masterpiece with no bad songs on it, only excellent songs that sound incredible and are played great.
Yep.
David Bowie's Hunky Dory is also awesome.
I feel like Hunky Dory is kind of to David Bowie is where I'm coming from is Stevie Wonder.
I'd agree.
Like it's that. I mean, obviously it's got huge, excellent songs on it, but it also sort of is the album that opened the door to that next phase of Bowie-ness.
Yep. The Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah.
It also, among other songs, like Changes and Oh You Pretty Things, it has Life on Mars on it,
Yeah.
which could be argued to be the best Bowie song.
It's probably my favorite, but I don't know.
I love T-Rex. I've owned it on many mediums. I got to give this one to Hunky Dory.
I think I agree with you on that. I just think about when the Black Keys first came out and started having, or not when they first came out, but when they became just the band that everybody loved again, and so much of it just sounded like T-Rex. I was like, oh, the T-Rex sound is working.
Well,
again,
even like
all of these years
Everlasting
later.
Light is Mambo's son.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that sound definitely has some legs spread across, but I mean, Life on Mars is
On Mars, though,
timeless.
changes. Oh, you pretty things.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I have a hard time with Kooks on the second side.
I actually like that song a lot.
I've grown. It's grown on me, but for a while, like I think it was Dominic was just like, "No, dude, it's awesome." Like Andy Warhol like rubs me a little bit the wrong way. Now I might have to give it to T-Rex. No, Life on Mars.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break it down to their singles, and Life on Mars versus Bang a Gong. It's Life on Mars all day.
Yeah.
Bowie.
Jeepster though. No,
That's off.
that's
No, that's on that one. That's
That's
on that
Electric
one. I was
Warrior, yeah.
thinking of the slider. Now we have this classic combination of Black Sabbath, Master Reality, and Stevie Wonder's Where I'm Coming From. You start.
Well, I think we talked about earlier how Jimi Hendrix was like the first artist to be classified as heavy metal. But I mean, Black Sabbath are heavy metal, right?
I mean, yeah, if you're
mean,
going to give it to like
Yeah.
one band that's really defined it and started.
Yeah, I mean, where heavy metal went, it wasn't just people playing the blues really loud. It was, more in line with what became like stoner rock and metal and stuff. And that, again, not being a metalhead myself, but it's like I feel like that influence that's also spanned decades now. It's like really began with Black Sabbath. Sorry.
I agree.
And Where I'm Coming From has some of my favorite Stevie Wonder songs on it, but so does every other Stevie Wonder album. And as we said, like I think even though that one kind of kicked off the era of great, or actually didn't even really kick it off. It just kind of opened the door. I feel like Music of My Mind really kicked off his golden era. So I don't know, I'm a bigger fan of Where I'm Coming From, but I feel like Black Sabbath might be more culturally significant as far as the influence it's had over the decades.
Do you want to hear my take on it?
Yes, please.
This is our program. Stevie Wonder means infinitely more to us than Black Sabbath. We're including Black Sabbath because we are aware of its cultural significance, but it's very clear by the noise that both Zach and I make that it was not a heavy influence on our lives. And I don't think we have to choose Sabbath just to make a fair list, because this isn't a fair list. This is about wins.
So that's true. I guess both of our names are in the title of this show. So
Yes, we're driving here, and people can eye roll. You know what? People who would hate that probably don't listen to this program. They're listening to heavy metal podcast.
I mean, I'm absolutely fine with that. I mean, Where I'm Coming From is Think of Me as Your Soldier. Take Up a Course in Happiness.
That's the song I was thinking of.
Yes, it's so
That's
good.
a great tune. Yeah, I'm giving it to Stevie because it's Stevie.
Fair enough.
All right, want to jump back up top left?
Yeah, what do we got up there?
We got Ram versus Nilsson, and this one makes me want to chop my own head off.
Same. This is a tough one. I feel like my instinct is saying it should go Nilsson Schmilsson. But I sure do love me some Ram.
I love Nilsson Schmilsson. It is his best, but I think I like Ram better.
I've definitely listened to Ram more, but that's only because I discovered Ram at 14 versus Nilsson Schmilsson. I was like 22 when I first got it.
I can't make this choice.
And it's tough. I mean, Nilsson Schmilsson has Without You, which is obviously a vast improvement over the Badfinger version of that song. And is, I guess,
live
if living is without you. And it's become Nilsson's signature song in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Jump Into the Fire is on that. Gotta Get Up.
Lime in the Coconut.
Lime in the Coconut. I don't know. I'm still feeling like I want to give it to Nilsson Schmilsson.
I'm going to say Ram just so we have to flip a coin.
All right.
I just can't do it. Like, Ram is so... You want to talk about a culturally significant album? To me, Ram. But both of them are.
I mean, when I discovered Nilsson Schmilsson at 22 or whatever it was, it had the same effect on me that Ram had when I discovered it at 13.
That's true.
14.
Okay, you know what? We'll give it to Schmilsson. You're right. Tapestry and What's Going On.
Oh, man. This is so tough. I mean, I feel like we just got to give it to What's Going On because it's What's Going On. But
it's true.
Tapestry is like Carole King's emergence as an artist. And obviously she does some of her most famous songs on it. Like her version of Natural Woman is on there. Beautiful. Her version of You've Got a Friend, which also appeared on James Taylor's album that year that she plays piano on. That's peak Carole King, but unfortunately we put her up against What's Going On.
Peak Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
I bet she'd agree.
She would.
Like, rugged. I mean, one of the most... Tapestry is one of the biggest albums of all time.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump over to the right side. We've got Maggot Brain versus Who's Next.
I mean, at this point, I think we got to go Who's Next, just based on... I mean, both of them are, incredibly original sounding albums. One of them is like chock full of hits. And the other one is lesser known. I don't know.
Significant. Yeah. For me, personally, if I were to like grab one of those right now, I'd grab Who's Next. The other thing is that Maggot Brain isn't the easiest thing to listen to.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
That's true.
The Who.
Yeah.
David Bowie, Hunky Dory versus Stevie Wonder's. Wait, which one are we doing?
Where I'm coming from?
Where I'm coming from. Sorry. I said music in my mind so much that goes through my head.
Man, that is tough. As we already discussed, they're both kind of transitional albums for both of them, but both have some super excellent moments. Man, I don't know. I just because of the Life on Mars, I'm feeling like Hunky Dory.
That's where I'm at too. Because of that. Yeah, there's no one tune necessarily on that Stevie record that is like as monumental in his catalog.
Yeah.
You know, if we're talking songs in the key.
Yeah.
Now we're having a different conversation.
Exactly.
Bowie gets it. Circle gets the square. Nilsson Schmilsson versus Marvin Gaye. What's going on? It's Marvin.
It's Marvin.
Who's Next versus... See, now we're talking epic versus epic. We're talking Won't Get Fooled Again versus Life on Mars. We're talking Baba O'Reilly, a.k.a. Teenage Wasteland, versus Changes.
I'm feeling Who's Next? I mean, also Behind Blue Eyes.
Behind Blue Eyes. Bargain.
And
Love Ain't for Keeping.
Going Mobile.
Going Mobile. Beep, beep.
Is the song is over? Is that on
I believe
Who's Next, or is that Quadrophenia?
Yeah. Song is over. Yeah. Christ. Now it's the Who versus Marvin.
I'm still feeling Marvin. I mean, they're both obviously epic in different ways. But yeah, Marvin gets all from beginning to end on that album. Like, he taps into he taps into the moment, obviously. He taps into like 1971, like Vietnam War, inner city poverty and all that stuff and the race relations. And it's one of those albums, it's so relevant all the way through. And unfortunately, just as much 50 years later as it was then. And it's just, we're talking Mercy, Mercy Me, obviously what's going on, what's happening, brother.
It's also an album that's about people, whereas Who's Next is kind of about Pete Townsend, because he's a very inward writer.
There's also like all the connecting musical themes and what's going on, like the way that the choir verses come back and
the production on the album. Well, the production on both of these albums is incredible. I can say with all sincerity that I do not like one of these records more than the other record. I love them both. They're both in my top. They'd be in my top 10 for sure.
Agreed.
Both of them. But What's Going On is more of an album for the people.
Yeah, I feel like What's Going On is one that I keep finding new depth and new things into. Like, Who's Next is, I feel like I'm revisiting the same experience.
And
it still gets me pumped, but it's not like...
I'm always hearing something new on that album. And it's very rarely one of the big ones, Like Loving for Keeping. I remember when I finally, I heard it the first time I heard the album because I've listened to the whole album. But then, when you put that up against, Won't Get Fooled Again, it's just it kind of gets lost in the shadows a little bit. But man, that song is so good. Yeah, I think What's Going On gets it because of all that it represents and the era. I mean, that really ushered in a movement. If they wanted to spend more time on somebody who was doing shit in 71, they should have spent in this documentary to go full circle.
Yeah.
More Marvin.
I'm sure they probably will in another episode because they have to. How do you not
do that now?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Also, still just, I think it's What's Going On, but just to touch on Who's Next a little bit more. It's kind of amazing that is, I think, the best Who record when it's like a salvaged project. He was doing another rock opera called Lifehouse, and that's like Who's Next is like leftover songs from that project that never was, but also represents their best work.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, think about all the vetting that was done, all the pre-production. It was whittled down from basically a double album. So, no, I'm with you though. I think it's just if I look at it in terms of which record would I grab right now, it's well, that's 100% mood dependent. Absolutely. Which record have I grabbed more often? Equal. But it's just you can just tell. It's like a vibe.
Yeah.
It's like when they gave Anthony Hopkins the Best Actor Oscar this past year. It's he's very good.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like the right move this year.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of thought Chadwick was going to get a nice tip of the hat. No disrespect to Sir Anthony Hopkins.
No.
Tremendous actor.
One of the all-time
It
greats.
just didn't feel right at the time. So, it also just, this album is, as you said earlier, unfortunately, incredibly relevant still. I mean, thematically.
Yeah.
Well, we did it.
Wow.
Marvin Gaye wins 1971. In his wake, the monsters of the industry, giants of the industry lay in his wake.
That's right. All right.
Well,
also, I believe What's Going On came out in May of 1971, so we might actually be celebrating it right on its anniversary. I don't know. I guess I could look it up right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually celebrating both of these albums, or any of these albums that we talked about on their release date.
Yeah.
Except for Zep 4, because they're still in the doghouse.
What's Going On came out on May 21st, 1971.
Oh, it just came out 50 years ago.
Yeah, it just came out 50 years ago.
This day, almost this day, 50 years ago. Well, I guess it's significant that it won. A little more sound design for you.
That's right.
Is that a plane?
Who
We'd
knows?
like you to think so.
Could be from a sound library that we're creating while making this podcast.
You don't hear this shit on smart lists and like Conan. Probably because they have engineers and they're in a padded room.
Yeah.
But we're just here kicking it with the window open because it's spring. So that's the vibe, folks. Me and Zach in the room for the first time. That's the vibe.
That's it.
That's all. That's all we got for you.
Let us know if we still have our chemistry in the comments below.
Yes, please. We're dying to know.
That's right.
But thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Oh, God. Bye.
Bye-bye.
SAZETU is brought to you by Maine Spirits. Learn more about the spirits they bring into the state of Maine at mainspirits.com and what to do with them by downloading their app for your smartphone or visit them on Instagram at Maine_spirits. Promotional consideration provided by State Theatre Portland. Learn more at statetheatreportland.com and Sun Tiki Studios. Learn more at suntikistudios.com.